Hello, once again, and one more time, welcome back to the Trans Day of Visibility celebration on GDQ Hotfix. I'm Helix. I am here with our finale. It is Sayonara Mario World 2. Thank you all so much for being here all weekend. There were so many incredible runs. And if you missed any of them, highly recommend you make sure you're subscribed to youtube.com/gamesdonequick, because they will be uploaded there. But with that said, let's get into our final run of the event. Shoujo is here to take us through Sayonara Mario World 2. How you doing?
Doing okay. I'm a little bit nervous, but who isn't before a speedrun?
You got this.
Welcome to Sayonara Mario World 2. This is an absolutely gorgeous game put together by our friend Margot, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, but we love her and she makes incredible games. I am joined by Shoujo and BD. Why don't you introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, I'm Shoujo. I just took a Dayquil.
Hi, I'm BD. All I do is talk about Kaizo now.
Yep. Kaizo's a wonderful experience. I will show you what Kaizo is all about with Sayonara Mario World 2. Let's get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Video games.
Video games. All right, first level, Pointless Endeavor. A very clever title. You cannot get any points, which is kind of problematic in a Mario game because doing literally anything gives you points. Collecting coins gives you points. Collecting power-ups gives you points. Breathing almost gives you points. So we just gotta make sure to dodge as much as we can throughout the first level. Always get a few deaths out of the way early. Just get the nerves out.
Yeah, when Margot submitted this to SMW Central, which all of us are on staff for, the description that was included with this was just the hardest one I've ever done. And coming from Margot, that says a lot, because Margot has made some incredible fan games, but Margot is also known for making some rather difficult ones, and for her to say that this is the hardest one she's made is not to be taken lightly, and it also happens to be, she's right, this is the hardest one she's ever made.
This is a very, very difficult run. I don't think it's the hardest run that's ever been in the GDQ. I think that goes to Casio Mario World, but it is a very difficult run. We are coming up to the end of the first level, though. That went pretty smoothly after the first few deaths.
GG.
GG. Yeah, Casio Mario World run by Kezcade a couple years ago, and then Shoujo ran Joker Shell OK at Frost 2024, which was a very, very difficult SMW Kaizo. And then I would put this maybe not on par with those, but definitely up there in terms of, if you were to tell an SMW player that someone was playing this for a marathon, they would probably not believe you.
All right, we're on to our next level. This is called Small Stakes. You need to be small in order to fit through these small pipes. So Margot has given you the challenge of finding a way to damage yourself in every small room here.
You know, I'm just thinking about the idea of telling people like what's being run in a marathon, and I think one marker of difficulty is that with this game, if you told somebody you were running it, they would immediately have flashbacks. That's a good tell.
That's a very good tell. And the other good tell is that everyone's flashbacks would probably be different.
What would yours be, Shoujo?
Wild Heart.
Yep, no, mine too.
I think you'd get a lot of Wild Heart, though. Wild Heart is the final boss of this game. It is a very difficult and intentionally unfair boss. I'm excited to show it off.
Yeah, the estimate for this heart percent run is an hour. The world record is, I believe, 32 minutes?
No, 37.
37. 32 for XXO%. The discrepancy between the estimate and the world record is basically if Wild Heart decides if it wants to play nice or not. And it usually doesn't want to play nice.
I want to give a shout out to Greg, XOXO Gossip Greg, who is another incredible runner of this game. Had world record for a very long time. Just an incredibly skilled and has been on pace plenty of times to absolutely demolish the record and gotten crushed by Wild Heart. It just happens. Okay, one last trick here. This one is the trickiest. Okay, got it.
Such a mean jump.
GG.
Nicely
It was
done.
a tricky trick that smelled tricky.
So tricky. The sections, one of the reasons why this particular fan game is tricky from a marathon perspective is that the sections are very long. And to Margot's own admission, the hardest trick in each section is almost always at the end of it.
I always dislike it when that's the case in Kaizo, but what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. What is the name of this level again? This third one?
Butter Bridge 88.
Yeah. All right. When I was doing my research to prep for commentating this, I had forgotten that this level existed.
The gimmick here is that in the first section you can only regular jump, and in the second section you can only spin jump. So obstacles that are previously trivial because you could just like spin jump on saws, you can't do that anymore.
That was such a good section, though. H.
It looks like an H if you think about it. Also, shoutouts to Hyper 6 with the checkpoints that are literally just stars with H's in them.
Well, they are stars with the checkpoint in them, but they look even more like H's.
Things that make you think.
Things that make you think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
I don't need to. It's fine.
Okay.
And we're out.
Sometimes GG.
That was a one-shot.
Was it?
Yep.
Other than the intentional death. Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
other than
okay.
the intentional death. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. You will hear Shoujo describe things as not bad that you will wonder how are physically possible. And that's fine. That's just kind of what happens in these things.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
This is Wavering Radiant, which is perhaps one of the coolest levels in this game. Basically, what is in the foreground and what is in the background is controlled by on-off, which is then controlled by you jumping. So every time you jump, the switch state alternates, which makes for a really, really interesting and kind of confusing level the first time you play it.
Just like real life.
So real for that.
Yeah. Could you imagine a form of basketball where the hoops just came in and out of existence based on when you jumped or how often you jumped?
It would be more interesting. Maybe I would watch basketball.
Wow.
Playing defense
Okay.
here becomes very
Wow.
interesting.
Look, the only sport I watch is hockey.
Basketball's the only sport I watch, so honestly, that's fair.
Basketball
I get it.
is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court.
This first section's not going too well. Unfortunate. Yeah, this last part with the saw blade is really interesting. You have to time your jumps at very specific intervals in order to land on it.
H.
Okay. Hopefully the rest of this goes a little more smoothly.
The joke is that there's 16 exits in SMW we refer to them as exits as different ways you can beat the levels. So there might be multiple levels. By the way, shout out to this room.
Yeah,
Very
if you
neat.
jump in that room and you don't immediately collect the orb, then you die. and that's it.
But we measured the length of a fan game by number of exits, which is the number of ways you can beat any of the individual levels, and there are 16 in Sayonara 2, and I think 14 of them you could say is, oh, this is the hard level.
Yeah, this is one of my hardest levels. This is Coyote Time. So the gimmick here is that you get one jump like usual, but you can do it anywhere. It's like you have infinite Coyote Time, which is what the name comes from. It's quite difficult.
For those who are on the younger side, Coyote Time is a reference to Wile E. Coyote from the Looney Tunes cartoons, who would walk off the edge of a cliff and not fall until he looked down.
Which is canonically why Mario never looks down.
It's true. That's also how I dunk in basketball.
I apologize for offending everybody here by saying I don't like basketball.
Yeah, somebody in chat said that you hate LeBron James, which is kind of a completely different sentence from what you said, but I'll take it.
In fairness, they're basically the same thing. So anyway, these mega moles are very very mean.
Okay.
Nice.
Somebody also came into my chat and accused me of hating LeBron James. So, like, is this just a thing?
Maybe. By the way, shout out to Archie and the Celeste community there.
All right, Minoans is next. This level has water for sprites, but not for you. So, you can see the water is clear here. Basically, anything that is put into this water area will get treated as though it is underwater. That does not apply to you, though. Creates for a very interesting dynamic. It's very cool. It slows down a lot of objects, which means you can do cool tricks like that.
Yeah, and loading up Google real quick, the Minoans were a Bronze Age civilization that thrived on the island of Crete from roughly 3000 to 1450 BCE. So that must be where the name came from.
It must be.
Girl Scout cookie.
Is it?
What?
I thought it was a Girl Scout cookie.
This section has the water moving up and down every time you hit the on-off switch, which creates for some even more cool interactions. This part's really hard.
That trick terrifies me every single time I see it, and I'm not sure I'll ever get over it until I see the one that immediately follows it, which scares me even more.
GG.
Yeah, jumping on that Yoshi while it's growing is really difficult. The timing is pretty tight.
I'm gonna be real. I googled Minoan Girl Scout cookie, and the first result was there is no Girl Scout cookie flavor named Minoans.
Man, I've never been so owned in my life.
This is the Lepidopterist, which, in addition to just being a fun word to say, is people who study butterflies and moths. So we came to the conclusion that wigglers are just a very interesting moth.
Well, if you ask... Well, you go.
No, I was just going to say, this is... you might think this is custom wig... No, this is just what wigglers do when you poke them.
When wigglers are trapped in a confined space, they will fly upwards like this one does right now. Very interesting. They stretch out really far.
You know, we say wigglers are a type of moth or what have you, but if you ask the infamous Cape Gamer Flipspad, she would say that they are actually part plant.
Uh-huh.
They do have flowers growing out of their head.
The first ever plant moth.
Ploth.
Cloth.
Shout outs to Ploths.
Floss everywhere. Yeah, Margot referred to this the last time we commentated for this as the easy level, and I just want to say that says a lot.
This is definitely not an easy level, but it is an easier level, I guess. Although it still gives me trouble at all.
Well, you're out. GG.
Okay, so far so good. This is not going bad. I always get nervous before runs. Dead weight. This immediately follows the quote easy level. This one, Mario can't jump, and fun fact, this is the longest section without a checkpoint in the entire level.
Yes, it is an auto-scroller where you cannot jump, and you have to basically contort yourself in various shapes and directions to fit the increasingly tiny spaces that Margot builds for you.
And can I just say, it is incredibly hard, as somebody who has built more than a couple hacks herself, it is incredibly hard to make a good downward moving level or auto-scroller or what have you. So this is an accomplishment.
Yeah,
Triangles.
I am impressed not only at the gameplay, but also with the level design here.
Yeah, Margot's level design is really something special. She's working on a new game right now, which I'm really excited for, called Tomboy. I've played a little bit of it. I'm really excited for it. But Margot makes some really good stuff, and it's good looking stuff too. The palettes are always absolutely gorgeous, and her design is just amazing, both aesthetically and in terms of the level design.
Yeah, one of the things I really love most about Margot's work is that Margot is very, very willing to give you enough to let you screw yourself up. To build things not that will kill you themselves, but will let you kill yourself. Like this boss fight, which might be one of the most cursed things in this game.
Yeah, so you still can't jump here, which means the only way to hit these Resnors is by dismounting from the wall at a specific point, and you will go upwards a little bit, and that's when you can hit them.
You say Resnor, I say Buoy Buoy, we're not the same.
Okay.
Built different.
Oh, this is bad. No, this is... Yeah, no, that's fine.
However hard that looks to you, I promise you it is much harder.
GG.
GG.
All right. We are through the second submap. The third one is the largest. This one also has some of the toughest levels, not including the last one. This is solid gold. It's really interesting. Coins are solid for sprites. So basically you can take away the floor and walls of sprites just by collecting coins. It's really interesting.
Sayonara 2 is really... I think of it as a game that really defines the levels are defined by one very specific change. In this case, it is, coins are walls. But you've seen, it's very easy to go and make them something very hard off of a very simple idea, like you can't spin jump or you can't score points. Margot is incredibly good at taking a seed of an idea and really getting every bit of level design that she can out of one idea.
Those fireballs are funny. You can just spin jump over them, which was actually theorized and found by Margot herself. All right, this next section's a little more confusing. The coins are now solid only for you while you're not holding an item. So if you're holding an item, you will go through the coins. Otherwise, they are solid for you.
This isn't going to mess with my brain at all.
Don't
Yeah,
worry about it. It's fine.
It's a really confusing level at first.
Yeah, you just kind of have to see it done for yourself, or just go. Like, and sometimes you throw a key in the ceiling.
It happens. One thing you may have noticed up to this point, by the way, is that there's a lot of heart imagery in this game. Margot has taken the opportunity to put hearts kind of everywhere she can. And it looks really good. This is inspired in part by a game called Sayonara Wild Hearts, which also has a lot of heart-based imagery. I've never played it, but I hear it's very good.
I can confirm it is. It is very good.
It is an experience for sure. A good one, but like it is an experience even more than it is a game, perhaps.
Okay.
We're out.
GG.
Nice. Well done.
All right, our next level takes place underwater. This is Half Sleeper. This takes place underwater, and it has an infamous mechanic known as pressure water. A lot of people know it as Casio water because Casio is the game that popularized it. Basically, you get one jump.
Yeah, that's it. You get one jump.
You get one jump. You get one jump. You don't get to swim. You basically just get one jump. So it's you can think of it as like maybe low or high gravity. You can control roughly how high your quote unquote jump is. Because it's still swimming, you get to control the height of your swim, but that's about it.
This mechanic has been made. Everyone has a level with this mechanic that just gives them nightmares, or multiple. So when you see it, it tends to have its own little harrowing realization of, it's pressure water.
And as Flipped is bringing up in chat here, just a note on originality and popularization. Everybody thinks of Casio, which came out, like 5 years ago, something like that? But
4 years ago, yeah.
4 years ago. I think the earliest I know of this usage would be from a level in Anonymous Bloodlust Hacker's Dreams, where the earliest version of the level was from 2013. So this mechanic has been around for a while, just not widely used until more recently.
It is worth noting, by the way, that Shoujo has beaten that level, and that level might
I'm on
be
the last
one
room.
It has beaten the hardest part of that level. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I had to leave for a writing conference, unfortunately.
And
GG?
it might be, GG. By the way, like as we're talking about this, Shoujo is just beasting through these things, as one does.
All right, what is the next level? Transference. This is the hardest non-final level, in my opinion.
Just for the sake of this marathon, it is just called Ference. The trans is implied.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Basically, you have invincibility. You get star power whenever a sprite is touching these blocks that have stars on them. Like, I gotta bump this. Okay, like I gotta bump that Goomba up to the star before I can go on the Buzzy Beetles, because the Buzzy Beetles will kill me otherwise. Or you have to do a lot of timing. So like timing this so that the shell is on the star blocks when you need it to be. It's also a very hard and kind of mind-bending level once you understand what the gimmick is.
Mechanics are so creative.
They're very creative. Margot's done a really good job here with creating all kinds of really unique levels. This is one of the most unique games I've played.
I want to give a shout out.
Oh, you go.
No, go ahead. No, I want to give a shout out to Alyssa, who I know I've seen. I think I've seen in chat, who ran at Frost Fatalis not too long ago. A game called Superstar by Margot, which is basically Margot being like, what if I made an entire fan game of star-based mechanic levels? Alyssa absolutely crushed that run, and you should go watch it if you haven't. But Margot is great at taking an idea and using it for one level, and then being like, what if I used it other ways too?
And if you want to watch that Superstar run, you can find it on youtube.com/gamesdonequick, along with all the other VODs from Frost Fatalis. I would be remiss if I didn't at some point mention Parallel Universe, the hotfix show that Limey and I host, because it is all about mods and fan games and things of that nature. So, very topical. We have our next episode this Friday, actually, 10 p.m. Eastern every other Friday. I need to get in contact with some of you all about having a Mario World Showcase, because we have not done one of those yet, somehow.
Let's talk.
Yeah, we totally should.
Somebody in chat has just asked, is Margot a person or some kind of elder deity that hands down Mario ROM hacks from the great beyond? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
I was about to say, even by my understanding, the answer is yes.
All right, this section is a little bit different. Now you have star power when you're holding an item. You gotta be very careful not to lose that item. Margot has done a lot of creative things here. It's also worth noting that the purple Buzzy Beetles will not kill you when you have star power. The black Buzzy Beetles do not care, and they will kill you. Shell jump. Obligatory shell jump in every Kaizo.
Yeah, shoutouts to that little section being one of the most confusing on first play. IMO.
It is a very confusing section.
And it's over.
I was stuck in that level for a minute.
Nah, you're crushing this.
Attachment issues. Now you are not allowed to hold items at all. So you can bump things, you can just sort of run into them, but you cannot pick them up.
This level is a great reminder that, in addition to being a great level designer, Margot knows how to pair music with levels, and the soundtrack, which we haven't had a chance to talk about yet, absolutely slaps. And I want to take a moment especially to shout out SMW Central. We get a lot of people that comment on how good the music is on some of these fan games, and they are all community written and community ported, and you can go to SMW Central and just pull up a radio of music that SMW Central creators have been making over the past 20 years, and just put it on as a random play and just have it on in the background, and I promise you, it's better than some other of your lo-fi playlist that you may have picked over the course of your background music choices.
Wait, that rules. I'm just now learning about this. That's awesome.
Okay. Boss time.
Yeah, so in this boss room, you hit the on switch, and then the off switch, and the Goomba comes down, then you gotta jump on the Goomba, and then you bump the Goomba a few times, and it is a lot of Goomba bumping, which is, what they called me in high school, Goomba bumping.
Uh-huh.
I I'm sure there's a backstory there. I have no part in wanting to know whatsoever.
Yep.
I missed the Goomba. Is this bad, chat? Oh no, my Goomba's gone.
We have more. It's fine. Yeah, that's the one thing about any Mario game is that there's usually plenty of Goombas.
Well done. That was impressive.
It was scary. My strat did not work at the end, so I had to improvise.
Important skill to have in these kind of games.
Mm-hmm. Misophonia, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
If Yoshi eats anything, you die. You cannot handle the sound of Yoshi eating, so you just die.
Yeah, I believe it comes from miso, which means hatred, and phonia, which means sound. If my Latin is correct. I'm gonna double check that real quick. BD,
No,
take over.
I think you're right. And the rare trollfish that is not aimed at you but aimed somewhere else. Trollfishes in SMW Kaizo have a very long-standing history, and sometimes they just drop them on your head and everyone laughs and goes, "Ha, so funny and original." And then sometimes they do something like that and actually do something funny and original.
If you're confused about why Yoshi can eat things now, this portion of the level uses a quirk of the gimmick where if Yoshi eats something immediately followed by a mushroom, then you will not die.
Yo, first time?
GG.
First try. All right.
That trick is intergalactically hard.
Yeah. For the record, by the way, my apologies. Misophonia is a combination of two Greek roots, not Latin.
Here we go.
To me.
Here we go.
There have been a lot of plant-based levels with a lot of projectiles shooting at you. I feel like they were popularized by Morsel, but I don't know how far back they go.
Yeah, I would say Morsel is who popularized it in Kaizo with ignoble plants in elephants, but there are definitely levels like it in some older Japanese hacks, like everything that Morsel does.
Yeah, the history of SMW Kaizo is interesting because Lunar Magic is a 25-year-old piece of software, and people have been using it the entire time. And the early SMW fan game scene was largely based in Japan. And so there are a lot of really influential, really early SMW games that people might not know about because they're not, familiar with the Japanese scene and aren't on that side of the internet, but which influenced a lot of the creators which would go on to make some of the more popular, well-known Kaizo and just general SMW. So this entire hobby really is a big standing on the shoulders of giants, where we all pay respect and pay homage to the games that inspired us.
As with all art, if you don't know where you're getting your influence from, you're probably getting it from somewhere still.
Probably getting it from World Peace.
Yep.
GG, by the way, that section is hard.
Yeah, section's hard. Yeah, this entire game is hard. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we keep saying that. Okay, here we go.
All right, XXO. This is the second to last level. The gimmick here is that Mario cannot run. You can only walk. I will still be holding the run button. You can't see it, but I will be because playing Mario without the run button feels wrong.
Yeah.
I can confirm this.
I don't even play much Mario, and I agree with that.
This is a sequel level to a level in Sayonara Mario 1 called Gym Buddies, where a bunch of us learned for the first time just how much Margot loves the Chuck sprite. And in fact, Margot loves the Chuck sprite so much that she made a sequel level where you have to survive the Chucks.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the XO lore, the X is a kiss and the O is a hug, right? Is that what they stand for?
I think so. Also, yes, can I get a hashtag big sports in chat, please?
Yes, the X is a kiss and the O is a hug, meaning that the name of this level is actually Kiss Kiss Hug.
It's important.
Ah. Yeah, every room here is on a P-switch timer, so you have to survive for the duration of the P-switch. These blocks above me turn back into regular blocks when that expires, so I have to time it just right so that I land up there. Margot does not understand how I go underneath these footballs instead of trying to jump on them.
Well, I think it's obvious. You just kind of walk under them.
Final room, this water is still the pressure water. You only get one swim. All of the water in this game is either only interactable by sprites or you only get one swim. Okay, will I get the yump? This is the biggest question of the day. No.
Alas. Run over.
Alas.
Magic.
Run's not valid.
But you all are. You
It's
in
true.
chat?
All right, it's time.
All right, this is the final level. This is known as the game inside the game. This is House of Jealous Lovers. This has a heart following you in pretty much every room. This is known as a Himari orb. It was used in Himari's game called Hyper 6 in the final level, and that's what a lot of people know it from. It chases you with really bad tracking.
Yeah, and just a note, the Himari Orb and Hyper 6, where it comes from, are from 2010, meaning that the sprite is pretty old. It was made by Akaga Knight back then, somebody who was still in the scene. In my headcanon, you are actually Andre Iguodala in the 2016 NBA Finals, and the heart is LeBron James performing a chase down block. And your goal is to rewrite NBA history by actually hitting the layup.
I hate that I understand this.
This entire first room is actually just a big reference to That Which Can Eternal Die, which is that final level of Hyper 6.
Fun fact. Well, up until that death right there, there might not be a bigger fan of the Himari Orb and That Which Can Eternal Die than one Emily Shoujo here.
It is. Yeah,
you are this level's biggest fan. Let's be fair.
I really, really like this sprite. I really like the levels that are made from them. I prompted Maddie to make one in her new game, so.
Oh, that's not cursed at all.
Yeah, we'll see what she makes. I'm excited.
I unfortunately do not like Himari Orbs. They give me a little bit of flashbacks. Alas.
Yeah. That Which Can Eternal Die regularly takes the people that play it and beat it dozens, if not hundreds of hours. So this particular orb tends to evoke feelings.
Uh-oh. I should also explain, the goal of this level is to collect all the heart dragon coins in order to unblock the exit.
Yep, this is another reference to Hyper 6, That Which Can Eternal Die, because that is the gimmick in that final level.
Please don't kill me. Okay, thank you.
We're good. Before we get too deep into Wild Heart, I do want to say that playing Kaizo on the internet is very hard. Playing Kaizo on the internet in front of a large crowd is extremely hard. Playing Kaizo on the internet as a trans person historically has also been incredibly hard. And I do want to take a second to shout out the two women who are on the call with me as two of some of the most inspirational people I know who have really, one of the reasons why we're able to have this is because of the willingness of streamers and creators like Shovda and Shoujo to put themselves out there and play games which are famously unpleasant to play in good times. So I do want to take a moment today, especially as we're thinking and looking back and celebrating this, that there's a lot of us here in the Kaizo community, and we're not going anywhere, and we had to fight to get here, and we're not giving it up.
Thank you, BD.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, back to being chased to death by a Himari orb.
All right. One more room and then the final boss.
So in this room, you're supposed to hit each of these buoys with 2 throw blocks in order to destroy them. But Shoujo here is going to hit them with 1 and during the iframes run through them, except for during this last little section when that is impossible, which is cool.
It's a very precise trick. You still you can't just run into it because that doesn't work. You still have to kick it like as late as possible. Poof.
Whoa! Okay, everyone. We have a friend for you to meet. And this friend is Wildheart.
This is the infamous Wildheart. She is unfair. And intentionally so.
This is one of D4's final creations in SMW, right?
Truly a trans wrong if there ever was one.
Yeah, I just want to throw a shout out to D4 for sure for also being a trans woman in the scene and going and being public and stuff like that. Sorry I interrupted you, Shoujo.
Not it.
Yeah, teleports behind you. Nothing personnel, kid. Thank you. Very cool, Wildheart.
So, you might be wondering how many hits to beat Wildheart, and the answer is 33.
But you get a checkpoint at 20. Which is
so that's
good.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's good, but that's also because phase 2 is way harder. Same.
I believe Margot in the game files refers to that particular attack as the impossible NES laser.
Nice. 2 of them.
There will be times during this fight where the Wildheart will make it functionally impossible to win. And that is a feature, not a bug.
There is one truly impossible combination. It's this combination, actually.
So she heard us talking about her and she wanted to show off for the crowd, okay?
Right on, Kia.
And she's being nice and giving me mushrooms.
Yeah. The end bosses of SMW fan games have only started at high complexity and have only gotten more and more complex with time and with people like D4 willing to bring people's ideas to reality. Some would call that enabling. I think it's kinder to call it realization. But there is a long history of obscene and frankly unreasonable final bosses in Kaizo's history, and this is a active and notable part of that history.
Leaf Shield is really annoying. You obviously can't hit Wild Heart while she's in Leaf Shield, and she'll throw it at you after a short time. That's fine. Okay. Phase
We
2.
had the hit. All right. Yeah, phase 2. It's harder because there's a and immediately the laser. Phase 2, there's a Himari orb helping you. I used helping in air quotes.
That laser attack, so in phase 1, you can jump over that laser without any assistance. In phase 2, it is impossible. You require the heart in order to jump over it. You gotta be kidding me.
3 in a row. Yeah.
Please stop.
Wild Heart's cranky tonight.
A little.
Somebody woke up on the wrong side of the chest this morning.
Apparently. Shabda, what's the worst SMW final boss you've had to fight?
My insecurities as a human being.
So real.
No, you get 80 hours into a grind and you start doubting everything about yourself. And that's worse than any video game boss.
That's too real. Oh.
I'm sorry.
I was yes-anding the bit. It's okay.
Okay.
Kaizo for me is an exercise in learning how to fail gracefully, because even a perfect playthrough of an SMW Kaizo requires at some level a little bit of failure, but 99.9% of the time when you're playing Kaizo, there is a significant level of failure involved, and for some people that's cool. For other people, like myself, that's something you need to learn to have fun with. And so when I say that Kaizo is for everyone, I mean with the understanding that, like, approaching it with the right mindset is important, and approaching it with the understanding that it's going to involve failure and it's going to involve repetition. And some people find that really part of the appeal, and some people find that part of the aspect of the game that they have to overcome if they want to have fun with it.
Okay. Okay. This is I'm not really getting good RNG, I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, this has been not the fairest fight.
Yep. And my saying always, too, is unless you are a Kaizo moderator for SMW Central, if you're not enjoying a hack, it is possible just to put it down and go play something else.
This is phase 3. 3 hits left. 2 hits left. 1 hit left. Okay. Wait.
Time will be coming up.
Time.
GG.
Incredible
GG.
gameplay. GG.
Whew. Yeah, that's Sayonara Mario World 2. It's really fun. It's really hard. Margot did a great job. And I'm really, really honored that I got to share with you all for this.
Shout out to Margot real quick for hand animating all of these really cool tarot cards in the credits. She has said that she regrets doing it, but I'm glad she did because they look really, really cool.
Yeah, that was incredible. Thank you all three of you for being here and for putting on this show for us.
Thank you for having us. Seriously, this has been a really wonderful event, and it's an honor to be a part of it.
It really has been a great event. I'll have some words to say in a little bit as we wrap things up, but any other shoutouts from any of you?
Shoutouts to Shovda and BD for being here. They're seriously super wonderful people. Shoutouts to SMW Central. If you're interested in Kaizo or even standard custom games at all, then you should head over there and check it out. As always, trans rights are human rights, and you are worth fighting for.
Absolutely. Anything else, BD Shovda?
Shout outs as well to all of the allies out there. Worth shouting out, especially somebody like BK or Barbarous King who have done the good fight on people's behalves, even behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really important.
Shout out to Margot and to all of the people who create this wonderful content for us to play. Making an SMW game is truly a labor of love exclusively. There really is no other reason to do it. And so we are incredibly gracious to people like Margot who are so skilled and so willing to share their talents in level design and art with us. So thank you, Mar, and thank you to all of those who take time to make these for us to play and yell at and throw controllers because of playing.
That was very well said. It is an art form, I think. And yeah, just incredibly talented and passionate people who put a lot of work into projects like this. I'm going to launch into a little bit of a spiel here as we wrap up. I have a few people to thank. First of all, this entire event would not have been possible without Quacksilver, who immediately stepped up to help plan this, and whose assistance has been invaluable the entire time. Speaking of Quacksilver, she is not available right now to say some words herself, but she did ask me to pass on a message. She wants to convey her personal gratitude to every runner, commentator, and all those who submitted for taking the chance to be seen as TGNC and proud right now of all times. And I, of course, echo the sentiment myself. I would also like to extend my gratitude toward everyone who has been here supporting in chat, sharing this event on social media, and just otherwise showing up to support the TGNC speedrun community. And the final party I need to thank is GDQ for providing the resources and platform for us to have this event in the first place, and especially Railcoon, who has put in a whole bunch of work on the tech side of things all weekend to make sure this event functions at all. Please, can we get a thank you, Ray, in chat? Because, oh my goodness, without you, Ray, this doesn't happen, obviously. So thank you so much.
Ray, you're a legend.
Really. It has been an honor, from my part, to be able to put on an event such as this for the community. I had this ideal kind of on a whim, and I was like, I should do it, right? Like, why not? And it has become so much more than I thought possible. It has been such a blast. People were so excited for it, myself included. I'm very grateful that we could all come together for this, especially right now. And I'm really glad we decided to call this a Trans Day of Visibility celebration, because it really did feel like one. Of course, please continue to support GDQ, continue to support Hotfix. You can tune in tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to see Perilous Paths on Hotfix, followed by Hidden Heroes. And I think that is going to be about it for me. Once again, thank you all so much. If you missed any of today's content, or if you missed any of this event in general, you can find the VODs on youtube.com/gamesdonequick. But if you missed any of today's content, we will be rerunning day 2 of the Trans Day of Visibility celebration right after I wrap up yapping here. But yeah, have a happy Trans Day of Visibility tomorrow. Thank you all so much for supporting. Like Quack said, huge shout out and thank you to everyone who is brave enough to be TGNC Invisible right now of all times. We will always be here. Trans rights. Good night, everyone.